Adobe Illustrator is a vector-based software program which allows you to create a vector-based image from scratch, which they can be then resized, color separated, or printed without any issues. Now, the first thing you want to do is come up to File, New, to create a new canvas to work from. Once you have your width, height, and other settings set, click on OK. Now, when creating a design from scratch, you're typically going to work with two different types of things: text and clip art images. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come to File, Place to add a clip art image. You can also add clip art images by simply dragging and dropping them onto the canvas. But by coming to the Place, we can look up our artwork and we can actually place the artwork. Now, in our case, this is a bitmap image, which essentially is also known as a rasterized image, which uses pixels and dots to essentially create the artwork. If you zoom in, you will see that the image right here is using little pixels to separate these colors and to create the design. We don't really want to use this when it comes to printing and resizing, because those pixels will become pixelated, essentially distinguishable, when we stretch them. So the first thing we need to do is come over to the Trace tool. By clicking this drop-down arrow, we have all of our different tracing options. Majority of the time, we're going to use this color 6 because we're going to work between 1 and 6 colors, but the type of trace tool that you use will all depend on the type of clip art that you're about to convert from a bitmap to a vector. So we'll click that, click OK, and it's going to quickly convert this bitmap image into a vector. Now if we zoom in, you can see we're no longer using tiny little pixels to create this artwork. We're actually using lines and curves which are very smooth, can be rescaled, color separated, and so forth very easily. As far as rescaling goes, you can select one of these anchor nodes and stretch the artwork however you want. In this case, it will be unproportionate because we were not holding down the Shift key. If we hit Command Z to undo that, and we want to actually resize this proportionately, hold the Shift key down and pull from an anchor point, and you will see that we are still maintaining our same proportion. Now that we like the size of the clip art, we can drag it to where we need it to be and drop it for now. Now, when it comes to working with a vectorized image, you essentially have a bunch of paths and objects within this image. What you want to do is you want to hit the Expand button, which will then ungroup all of these paths and objects within the clip art image. From here, we actually can select an object or path within the artwork and change its color. So in this case, let's go ahead and change, let's go ahead and use our direct selection tool, and we will select his two legs, which are obviously using this red fill color. Over here within the appearance, you actually can change the fill color and the stroke color, and then also the stroke width. But for now, we're just going to change the fill color to a different color. What you want to do is you want to double click on it. From here, we can add any of these colors that were already part of our color swatch, or we can create a new color swatch by coming down to New Swatch. From here, let's go ahead and add a CMYK color swatch of 100% yellow and click OK. And from here, there's our 100% yellow. Click on it, and boom, it changed the legs to yellow. Before you start making a bunch of changes to your image, it's a good idea to create a backup layer so that you can revert to any of the changes at any point. How you do that is you come down to your layer and you come to Create New Layer. In our case, we're going to make a couple of these. And what you can do is you come to your original layer, and what we'll do is we'll select all of the original layer, come up to Edit, Copy, come to a new layer, and then Edit, Paste in Place. And you want to paste it in place so that the artwork is copied and pasted directly over the original. And there you go. Just like Photoshop, if you hit any of these eye icons, it'll actually decide if the artwork is visible or invisible. So we don't need both of these on at the same time. Now we're going to come to a new layer, and we're going to come to our type tool, and we're going to add some text. So in this case, we'll add Thurman Cafe. We're going to change the font to Comic Sans, and we'll change the size to 120 points. Back to our selection, and there you go. Now that we have our text on here, a common thing you're going to want to do to text is warp it in some way. And how you warp text is you come over to here and you make with warp. This will open up your warp options. The most common type of warp you're going to use is an arch, but you can also use any of these other text effects just like you can in Photoshop. So we'll click on the arch, and the bend is very much what you're primarily going to adjust as far as using a warp option. So if we click OK, right now we're at a 50% bend, as you can see right here, which is a little bit drastic for what we're doing. So we're going to go ahead and make this 30%, hit enter, and as you can see, the bend is no longer so drastic. Now if we want to resize this, we can, or we could just simply change the actual font size. Now that we have our text where we want, we're going to unclick off of it, and there you go. Now let's say we want to align these two things together, essentially the text and the image. What you want to do is you want to grab both layers, you come over here to our alignment tools. By clicking on one of these buttons, we actually can then align the two together. Creating a simple design in Adobe Illustrator is a little bit intimidating, but once you have some practice, it gets a lot easier. If you have any questions about how to create a simple design using Adobe Illustrator, please do not hesitate contacting us. Thank you.